Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Get Fit With Me Expanding Your Physical and Mental Fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. In this group, we talk about three main areas: physical fitness, mental fitness, and nutrition. And today we get to pair actually doing physical activity with learning about our physical fitness, mental fitness, and nutrition. So on today's call, and just like every other week, the best way to get the most out of these calls is to click that little Zoom link above my head if you're on Facebook watching, and to jump into the Zoom room here. If you're not able to be on the Zoom because you're watching the replay or you're taking care of other stuff, the second best thing to do is either to drop #live or replay and follow along in the comments on Facebook, just as if you're there live with us. The comments live on. As I see things, I will address them. If you're watching the replay and you ask questions, don't worry, I will go back and answer them because today is a Q&A, so bring the questions that you have. Hello, we see Elena on live. She said she's feeding my child. So perfect. If you're feeding your child and you cannot be on Zoom, then being on Facebook live like she is right now is perfect. So we do have one on Zoom today, and we got a few on Facebook. So I like to go around and know who is here, who you are, where you're from, and then I want to know what question did you bring to today's call. Because we are doing Q&A, I have a list. I could do a Q&A for hours, but I have a list of main questions, but I want to know what questions you brought today, whether it's one or many. So iPhone, who are you? Where are you from and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm outside walking, so it might be kind of hard to hear me, from mid-Michigan. And how do I figure out how to get motivated to do strength training?
Ooh, awesome question. So we will make sure to address that today. Just like if you guys are dropping them on Facebook, we will go through them today. If it is the replay, I will go back and either make a little quick video for you explaining, or I will type it in the comments. So as you can see, I am inside today. I'm not outside. It is a little chilly, and I'm kind of a wuss. So I am on my under the desk treadmill. I got it about a month and a half ago. I used it on last month's call, and it has been amazing. So if any of you who work at a desk all day long and you're struggling to get your steps in, I've honestly found this little investment that I made slides underneath, slides off to the side really nicely. It's a nice little remote, and it allows me to do this from inside. And I don't bounce around as much as when I do this on my bike, and then my head moves up and down a lot. So today we're going to start getting into that Q&A. If more questions pop up, or as I'm explaining certain questions, if you're like, okay, please go deeper, let me know. But we are going to start with Kelly's question, which was, how do I get motivated to do strength training? Correct?
Correct. It's been a goal of mine for a while.
So first question I have is, how often are you trying to get motivated to strength train? Is it once a week? Is it 3 times a week? Is it every single day? What's that goal that you're trying to do?
I get it done once a week is all. But I suspect you'll tell me I need to do it more often than that.
So that will lead into another question. So I'll kind of pair these together. So the recommendation for strength training is at least 2 days a week. So we want to make sure that we're doing at least 2 days a week for about 30 minutes. All of that depends on your intensity. If you're doing one exercise and taking a 10-minute break in between, you got to be working for the majority of that 30 minutes. So don't let those rests get too long. So essentially, if we can get you into one more day of being motivated for strength training, that right there would be perfect.
But I personally think part of the problem is committing 30 minutes to it, because it does not contribute to my step goal very quickly.
So with their step goal being your main goal, you could do 2 different things. You could either split it up into 2 15-minute increments because they're smaller and it doesn't seem like it takes up as much time, because you still want to get that 30 minutes total. Or what you do is you pair strength training at the end of your cardio. So something that people will do is they'll do some strength training in the beginning, and then they'll go out and do their steps and pair it all in an hour. So depending on what that day looks like, that's kind of a good way to pair it, especially if you're motivated to get those steps in. How do we pair the strength? So you do a lot of outdoor walking. One of the options is you go over to the park, you do your squats, you do some push-ups, you do some of your exercises at a park, and then you come back and you can finish your workout with a few strength exercises at home with your weights.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that, I'll be honest.
And the motivation comes, there's not really the motivation that comes, it's the saying, I'm going to do it, and starting with just that 5 minutes. Before you leave to go on your walk, do your 5 minutes of strength training. Once you get that down, add another 5, add another 5. And eventually you'll have that routine. The other thing is, if you can do a class, you could schedule it with somebody to do it at the same time as someone else. You can write down the exercises and just follow it. Because I know a lot of the times motivation is lost when you have to think about, well, what am I going to do? How many am I going to do? Thinking through all of that. So if you can set yourself up with 4 different routines that essentially you work through each month, right there, you already have your routine, you just have to complete it, which is something we can do. We can take the workouts that we do together, we can write them down, and you can do it one more time that week, and then the second time I see you, we'll write down that movement. So then we have those workouts, you're getting rid of the guesswork of, what do I do? Okay, this doesn't seem great. I'm gonna go walk because it's easy, I know what to do, and I hit my step goal that way.
Does yoga count for strength training?
Yes, I like to count it, especially in the beginning, because it's a lot of body weight movements. You have to hold poses for a while. There is some resistance depending on what type of classes you do. There are higher intensity ones that will do some weights, where you do some squats, things like that. So in the beginning, if you're working on getting that strength training in, count it. If you're doing yoga all the time and you're losing that other day of strength, we got to add a resistance training day in. But for right now, if we can add that yoga in to add that body weight resistance and that flexibility, that right there is perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't started yoga, but I want to. And if that helps count towards strength, that's another motivator.
Perfect. So that, I say start there. Start with yoga, get that in, and we can always update it from there and come up with different ways.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we've got Elena. My question is, how do I exercise in a situation like right now? I would normally walk, but I can't when I'm getting my son down for lunch/nap. I'd love to join on the activity. So that is the challenging part, because you're right, you're putting him down for a nap. What you can do for any of these, you have your strength workouts that I know you're trying to get through each week, Elena. You have 3 of them, 1 with me and 2 on your own. So during these calls, after you get him down, if you want to turn on your camera or go through your strength workout as we are here, you are welcome to go through that strength workout. It's really any kind of movement that's going to be best for you for that 30 minutes. Or maybe you're going to stretch because that's a goal you're reaching towards. I like to say movement because it just gets us away from standing still or sitting still. So maybe that movement's stretching, maybe it's doing some strength training, maybe it's walking, maybe it's biking. And I know your little ones have a little cold right now, so it's not like put them in a stroller and let them get outside. It's too cold for that. But on nicer days, and that's an option, but I know we are going into winter. So thinking through, once you get him down, is it stretching or strength training that you're going to do as your movement while you're in the house? Because it's kind of hard to walk around the house 100 times before you're like, okay, this is enough, I'm bored. Great question. Cherry responded to that and said, I have this problem too. I'm always taking care of the kids, so it's hard to join on the activity. And it's and Cherry, I know yours are older, getting them involved in it. Have them listen to this call. Have them go and do the movement with you. Go do a family walk. I know you like to do things like that with them. Or while they're outside playing outside, you could just do laps around the yard. Elena used to do that when the kids would sleep sometimes. She'd just do little laps around the backyard where her monitor would still go. So thinking through how can you get them involved so it's not necessarily a separation of movement in the family. How can you pair it so that you don't feel like, so you can still take care of yourself and you can still take care of them. Does that make sense? Helena, I find when I do 30 minutes of strength training, I meet my step goal faster. Lunges and everything still count on my watch. So yes, it kind of just depends on how much you do. When I do my cardio core classes on Monday, I blow my step goal out of the water because for 30 minutes, I'm doing all sorts of cardio burst movements that have my arms and my legs moving. If I'm doing some slower strength training like we do on Wednesday classes, or doing chest press and bent over rows, there's less movement per se that happens, but it's still important, but it still motivates me because it's that burst of energy I get from strength training to get out and walk more. Cherry asks, what about when you get a cold or sickness? How do we still get in movement? Oh, such a great question. I know so many people with colds and runny noses this week. So biggest thing you want to prioritize when you aren't feeling well is going to be your rest and your water. After that, light movement. And the best way that I like to share is at the top of each hour, just get up and walk around the house for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be this whole go out and walk a long time or go out and do this long workout, but it's going to help your body feel better throughout the day if you dedicate 5 minutes at some point each hour to just move around a little bit. And maybe you're already moving around a lot with the kids, that maybe that's a day you don't really focus on extra movement, you just focus on your rest and your water. Because I find when I don't feel well, I kind of want to like lay on the couch and watch Netflix and do all that. But then you get up at the end of the day and you're like achy because you haven't moved very much. So dedicating at least 5 minutes each hour just helps your body feel good, helps you feel better, and will help you recover better. Awesome. Keep dropping the questions in. Yes. Another question.
Yeah, I have a question. So I recently, through a mini habit, which you introduced me to that concept, I have successfully put stretching into my routine. And I think it's because I do it every day and it takes me 5 minutes. So can I do strength that way? Can I replicate? And then how would I, like 1 week, would I do arms? The next week do core? You know, how might that look? Because I think for me, I've got to do it a lot to get it ingrained.
Perfect. And you can. So what you can do is you could technically choose 1 or 2 movements that you are going to do each morning. So we'd set up 7 days a week or however, because you stretch every morning, right? Not just Monday through Friday.
I would say I get 6 out of 7.
Okay, so we'd want to pair your 5 minutes of stretching and then right after doing that 5 minutes. And really, if you look at it, when you look at the recommendations, it's either a number of days or a number of minutes. So when you and Bridget actually joined us a while back, we were talking about the number of minutes of strength training that's recommended. So you could break it up into 5-minute chunks 6 days a week and slowly work towards that minute goal. So the easiest way will be to think through, I'm going to do 2 moves each morning. It's going to take me about 5 minutes to get through it. What 2 moves am I going to do on Mondays? What 2 moves will I do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you can have your rest on Sunday. Because that right there, it's still setting yourself up by knowing what moves you're going to do. You know it's going to only be 2 moves, so you'll go back and forth. You'll go kind of quicker through it because it's only going to be 5 minutes, but you'll still get your strength training and you'll still get the practice in.
Okay, so would you suggest that, like, do I pick 2 movements and do them all week, or maybe pick 4 movements and alternate days? What might be best?
So we always want to work 5 main muscle groups, and this is another question that I get, is what muscle should I even be working? And anytime I look at a workout that I'm writing for somebody else, there's always 5 main parts of the body that we focus on. We focus on something for our chest, a push, because we want to keep our chest and our upper body nice and strong. We always focus on a pull, something for our back muscles. A lot of us spend a lot of time in front of a computer or a screen, and we do a lot of hunching. So we really want to focus on strengthening those back muscles to help with our posture. Then we want to focus on something for our quads, something for the tops of your legs here. And then you always want to focus on something for your butt and your hamstrings. So your hamstrings are those muscles right behind your quads on the back of your legs, and then your butt is your butt. So those are 4 moves, and then the 5th one is always a core move. Whether it's for that low back type of core move or that actual core, or it could be a carry of some sort, but those are the 5 main areas. So you could do, for instance, Mondays could be squats and glute bridges. Tuesdays could be bent over rows and push-ups. Wednesday could be 2 core moves. But then remember, we have our biceps, we have our triceps, we have our calves. We have other muscles in our bodies that need to be worked. So Thursday, you could go biceps and triceps, so the front of your arm and the back of your arm. Friday, whatever day we're on, we could do calves and back to a quad movement. Just want to make sure that we're for sure getting those 5 main groups in there. If we can get our accessory muscles, such as those biceps and those triceps in, great, because I know a lot of you will say, how do I get rid of that bingo arm or that bat wing when we wave, whatever you guys may call that. That right there is doing tricep exercises. That's also working on our shoulder muscles. We want to make sure we're working our shoulders. So what we can do is we can actually create, I probably have a list of this somewhere. If you guys want the list that I have somewhere of a variety of movements that you can mix and match, just drop movement in the comments and I will get that to you. So essentially what you can do is you'll just circle which ones you're going to do which days, and you can make yourself a little chart for that. So that you can see which areas are important and make sure you're grabbing movements from each specific area and you're not just doing everything for your quads each time. We want to make sure we're keeping our body nice and equal as we're doing strength training. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know if that was better, if I would make more progress with that, or if like one week I concentrated on arms and the next week I concentrated on legs and glutes, you know, if I did it that way.
I would keep it balanced throughout the week, because let's say the first week of each month you're going to do arms, and then you're not going to do arms again until the first week of the second month. You will lose some muscle because you're taking such a long break in between. Whereas if we can keep it kind of balanced throughout, you're going to gain more strength that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You are welcome. Cherry says, your butt is your butt, laughing emoji. Movement. Okay, so some of the other questions that I get are, how much water should I drink in a day? Well, there's a few different things. First, you can do your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. And for some of you, you may be thinking, holy moly, that's a lot of water. Another way to think about it is females need anywhere between 60 and 90 ounces on average. And males need anywhere between 90 and 125 ounces. So think about which gender are you? How many ounces do you need? But how many ounces are you actually getting? If you're someone who only drinks a cup of water a day, that your goal should be 2 cups of water. It shouldn't be all of a sudden go from 1 cup to 60 ounces. It should be from 1 cup to 2 cups. Once you're consistently doing 2 cups, then you go to 3 cups. And so on and so forth until you get yourself up. So Elaine and I are actually working on water, myself included. And I found that for my water, yes, this big massive thing that is the size of my torso, that with me being on the computer all day long, I'd have a cup of water, it'd end up going dry, and then I'd be on things and I'd forget to fill it up. So I bought a tool, a massive water bottle that has all the ounces. Water bottle's 128 ounces. My goal is between 60 and 90, closer to 90 each day. So I may not finish that water bottle, but all of the water I need to drink is in one spot. And that is what's helpful for me. So if you know you're a 1 cup a day drinker, get a container that has that will fit 2 cups and keep that with you. If you're someone that only drinks 2 and you want to start drinking 3, get a cup that has 3 cups. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect.
So sometimes I get tired of the taste of water because I am pretty good about getting my water, but it gets kind of old. So how do you feel about an occasional Crystal Light packet?
I'm good with the occasional Crystal Light. I'm good with the occasional lemon or lime, like fresh squeezed in there. That's really good. I used to do infused water a lot, where I just throw some cut up some strawberries, throw that in there. I know a lot of people like cucumber water. I think it's disgusting. I like cucumbers, but the water freaks me out. Something else that is nice that I will count towards water is sparkling water. So at the end of my day, I like sparkling water. LaCroix's got a key lime sparkling water, and it's really, really good. And that right there, I will count that towards my water goal because it is water. It's just bubbly water. I won't count my coffee, partly because some days I drink a lot of coffee and I don't like counting it, and I won't count my tea. And there's caffeine in it. So I like to think, what am I consuming that doesn't have caffeine in it? Just because often I will find people who will just like, oh, I'm drinking coffee, it's water. It is water, but if all you're drinking is coffee all day long, you're not going to be hydrated. Tea's not going to hydrate you like water does.
Okay.
Those little Mio squeeze things too. I know people that will do like a few squirts of the Mio in their water to add the flavor. Because I get water does get boring. That's why I go sparkling water.
Yeah, yep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So another question I get, what is the best type of exercise I should be doing? Okay, it's the exercise you're actually going to do. If I tell you to go over here and do strength training and you're never going to do it, then it's not the best type of exercise for you. Whatever exercise you're actually going to do is the one that's going to be the best for you. Once you've built that habit with doing the exercise you love, whether it's hiking, kayaking, walking, stretching, strength training, riding a bike, whatever that is, build that habit with just movement itself and exercising in a way you love. And then we can slowly make sure we're getting the other foundations of, are you getting resistance training? Are we getting enough flexibility? Are we making sure our heart's staying strong? But so often people are like, well, what's the best exercise I should be doing? It's the one that you're actually going to get up and do in the day. It's not the one that we're just going to be like, okay, I'm never going to do it because I hate it. No, do the one that you actually enjoy and you actually love. Another question that I get, how do I find time for myself? How do I actually get my workouts in? You can do it a few ways. You can add it into a morning routine like Kelly was saying. You can add it to an evening routine, or you can really be intentional about scheduling it on your calendar or in your planner. I schedule mine. Mine get put on there for the same time every single week. Monday, Thursday, Friday, 6 a.m. If I'm not feeling a 6 a.m. workout, or I have something come up where I have a client that needs to see me at 6 a.m. and I need to see it later, I will shift it in the day, which is totally acceptable, but I never take it off my calendar. I think of my workouts or my stretching time or my cardio time as like a doctor's appointment. That if I schedule last minute or I decide not to show up for it, they're gonna send me a bill and say, you didn't show up, here's your money. You owe us this. Because essentially, if I'm not showing up to those workouts or I'm not showing up for myself through cardio, stretching, strength, I'm not helping myself. Just like if I was sick and I decided not to go to the doctor, I'm not going to get better. So we want to make sure we're showing up for ourselves, just like we would if we were going to go see somebody else. And I know this can be hard. So a few ways to do this is, one, tune into these calls each and every week, and you are more than welcome to do movement every week on these calls. I just dedicate just 1 month out of the 1 week out of the month for movement, but feel free every single week at noon to join and do movement as we are talking and learning. Another way is to hire a personal trainer. Another way is to attend a group fitness class. The other option is to pay for a gym membership. When we have money behind something, we are going to use it. So many of us don't want to pay something and not get our money's worth out of it. Even if it's $10 to Planet Fitness, that $10 to Planet Fitness may be the change you need to say, I need to actually go do the thing to get my $10 worth out of them. And the other option is get a friend. If you have people that you also know like to walk or like to do things, ask them to join, whether it's in person or virtual, or create the accountability system of, okay, I'm going to text you my workouts done, send me your sweaty picture, whatever that is. There's lots of ways you can find that motivation, that accountability, and help get you to that goal, doing what you want to do, when I know scheduling itself is hard. Elena said, oh, maybe put $10 in a jar every time you skip a workout. Then I have money, then I have to give that money away. So it's funny you say that.
That's a good idea.
I've seen people both ways. I've seen every time they complete a workout, they put money in a jar, and after a certain amount of time, they go and they buy themselves something nice because of their commitment to themselves. Or I've seen the opposite of every time you don't do something, the money goes in that jar and you essentially just don't have it anymore. I like the more positive reinforcement of every time you do the thing, then you have your money for a massage, whether it's a new outfit, whatever that is, you have that money already set aside. But it's the negative of, I just lost $10. I don't know who you'd give it to. That's the hard part. It's like when you just put it, you can find somebody to give it to, donate. Every time you don't do your workout, you have to donate money to a charity or something. Thinking through what can you do with that money.
That's a good idea.
Okay, let me look. What are some other ones we have here? Ooh, charity, kids, LOL. Yes, any of those. If you really are skipping all your workouts, your kids could become rich. So if you don't want that to happen, do your workouts. So something else that I get asked a lot is when I'm looking and creating my meals and looking down at my plate, what types of food should I have? What should I have a lot of? What should I not be eating? I'm not someone who likes to tell you shouldn't eat something. If you want it, have it. But you want to make sure that you're getting a carb, a fat, and a protein. And there is a training on this that I'm actually doing a second version of it either next week or the following week. I can't remember exactly, where we talk about no more macro or calorie counting, that you can visually look down at your plate and make sure that you're having a balanced meal. So you always want a carb, you always want a fat, and you always want a protein. First things first though, before we look at what should be on your plate and how we should fix it, we have to do a food log that says, what are you actually eating? What changes, modifications, or things that need to be implemented need to happen? Because if we're just blindly adding things and taking things away, how do we know that we're actually doing something good for us? So by doing that, we do a food audit. So if anyone would like a food audit, just drop audit in the comments. And what we'll do is we take a 1-week food log, super basic. You write down every single thing you eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, every single thing you eat, every single thing you drink. Does not have to be, I ate 2 cups of rice and 2 eggs and 5 burgers. No, I ate a hamburger. I ate eggs. I ate toast. Super, super basic. Once we've done that food log, then we look, well, I see you're eating a lot of fats and a lot of carbs, not enough protein at breakfast. Our first implementation is let's get some more protein in at breakfast. Here's some protein ideas. So we break it down really small and we focus on just one meal rather than trying to fix our whole diet at once. Because the reason diets don't work in general is because we try to subtract everything we love and do something that is not sustainable. And if we look at it step by step and we implement small changes in each and every meal over time, we're going to create that sustainability and we're going to feel better, and we're not going to feel like we're missing out on tortilla chips and margaritas. We're not going to feel like we're missing out on pizza. We're not going to feel like we're missing out on things. Any questions on that? Okay, so we are coming up on that 30-minute mark. I'm going to answer one more question because it ties into what is coming up in the next month. So a question that I get a lot is, how do I create a habit and what does it take for it to stick and be created? So a habit, one, first step we have to think of, we went through this last week, and I can always re-tag you in that training, is you want to think, what is your big goal? Okay, if your big goal is to lose weight, what has to happen for you to lose weight? Well, you probably have to exercise and look at your diet. Well, if we want to be able to create a habit, or we want to create a habit of getting more steps, we have to look at first, where are we at and how much do we want to implement by? For instance, with the water, like I talked about earlier, my goal is 60 ounces. If I am not getting those 60 ounces, I got to look at where I'm at. Well, I'm at 40. So my habit each day is going to be starting to drink 45 ounces every single day consistently, over and over. Once I've officially realized for about 7 to 14 days that I've consistently hit that 45 ounces, I'm gonna bump it up to 50 and go from there, and so on and so forth. And by doing it every single day, a habit no longer takes 21 days to be formed. It takes anywhere from 60 to 90. So if you are consistently increasing your water and hitting that water goal every single day for 60 to 90 days, you are going to create that habit, and drinking water is no longer going to feel like this thing at the front of your brain. It's going to be something in the back that you just do subconsciously. Same thing goes for your steps. Same thing goes for going to bed at a certain time. All of these things are little micro habits that lead to a big habit change. So first thing we have to do is to figure out what is that habit we want to change and break down as small and small and small as we can. Then for there, we have to start being consistent with it. And we have to be consistent every single day, not just here and there, but literally every single day. And what's nice is in about 4 weeks now, we are launching the Commit to Your Health program. It actually kicks off on November 21st, and we are creating that habit. And you're going to get 45 days out of that 60 days of committing to one habit every single day and doing it every single day. And I will help you create that habit. We will break it all down. And yes, it runs from Thanksgiving to Christmas for one main reason. It is the busiest time of the year for so many of us. And if we can change and implement a habit during that time of the year, any other time of the year, it's a breeze. So if you want to hear about the Commit to Your Health program and how we can implement a habit starting today, so that by the time the end of the year happens, we're already at that 60-day mark, drop commit in the comments and let me know. And I'll reach out to you with the details and we'll talk. But those habits, changing our water, changing our strength training, changing what we eat, changing our sleep patterns, changing the number of steps, it all starts with a really small habit. So all these questions that I answered today, I can tell you all the answers. And there's some of you who are going to go out and take the answers and go run with it. And there's others that have tried and tried and tried, and you just cannot get it right. And that is when a micro habit and Commit to Your Health program is a perfect fit. Because I will be checking in with you every single day. We'll be seeing, did you do it yesterday? Did you not do it yesterday? If you did, what are you proud of yourself for? If you did, how are you going to make it happen today? And we're going to have full accountability for 45 days. So as of that, I'd like to know, what are your takeaways and insights from today's call? What did you learn? What maybe stuck out to you as like, okay, I'm going to remember that. And then what are you going to do with that information? Are you going to drop the word commit and talk about the Commit to Your Health program? Are you going to call a friend and share this information with them? I know, Elena, I'm so excited. Elena is already signed up for it, and it is so awesome. And we've already started implementing the tools now. So by the time the end of the year hits, she's gonna be at 90 days because she signed up a few weeks ago. So if you sign up now, that micro habit will start now. Won't wait till November 21st. It will start now. So I want to know insights and takeaways. And I hope you guys have such a fantastic rest of your day. And we got 2 more calls this month. I can't believe October is almost over. And in these next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about physical fitness, which is going to be a different type. We're going to be talking about functional movement and how movement is good for everybody and move that we can be doing. And the other week, we're going to be talking about those no more calorie counting or macro counting, which last time I taught it was a huge hit. So if you want to hear that, join us for that. Cherry says her takeaway is tiny steps and consistency. It works. And Alina says, my takeaway is how much work it takes to start a good habit and how important those micro habits are to us. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will talk to you all next time.